Hey guys, game 3 of MC versus Puma is officially underway on this cast. I am your host Sidewinder for Community Starcraft 2, and let's go ahead and reintroduce our players. Our red Protoss is oGs'MC, the President Protoss as people like to call him, and he's fighting Puma, who is really come alive on the foreign scene when he first entered, but is slowly fading away just a little bit, but I guess fading away is the only direction he can go, considering he's basically winning every event he was entering. But yeah, Puma is now sending out an SCV fairly early. He does have his 10th one in queue, so I guess it is on time to drop that supply depot. I can't make this very exciting, so there's going to be a little bit of downtime in this matchup, as there typically is. There usually isn't anything weird as far as their build orders. It's usually really straight up, but yeah, let's talk about this map a little bit. This is Shakura's Plateau. For Protoss versus Terran, it can be really strange. It depends really on what the Terran is able to do. But the Protoss can get away with being pretty greedy because you can drop just 2 force fields here and segment armies that try to attack you. And that's very safe. So it really plays into a lot of 2-base Protoss stuff. For Terran though, if you can get a Protoss spread out, drops become really effective because of how long it may take to get your army from like right here all the way back in your main, whereas if they expanded here you could just drop back and forth by just barely moving. So it can be a weird map for this matchup. I like it a little more for Protoss than I do Terran, but then again at the same time, if the Terran goes for something like tanks and just perches a couple right here, they could stay safe for a really long time and get a lot of different or weird tech out. So I don't know, there's a lot of variety on this map, let's just put it that way. Puma's going to start his orbital command as soon as possible, as soon as his barracks is done, and there it goes. Yeah, I don't know what Puma is planning on doing this game, but so far we have not seen Puma's, famous or infamous, whatever you want to call it, 1-1-1, who he just destroys everyone with that build, at least against Protoss, and is actually just, quickly 3-0'd MC in another tournament with it. But none of that is happening today. And Puma did win the first game. MC took the second game. MC with a nice little 2-base timing there. And Puma really got caught off guard, was caught teching too early and just died to it. So Warp Gate and the Stalker's on the way. MC skipped his first Zealot, which I usually don't like because of their ability to tank and keep your Stalker safe if your opponent goes for any 2 barracks Marauder aggression. But here's the command center coming down out of Puma, so MC getting a little bit fortunate that that's not actually what's happening. MC looks like he wants to drop his Nexus as well, and he's going to, and the SCV is actually going to see this, so I really like that SCV placement, or at least the SCV is going to see it as soon as he moves. So Puma just kind of hiding a unit over in the side of the expansion there, and he did just poke in there and see the Nexus, so Puma knows what's going on, and he's just going to sit it there to be sure it's not some really strange Nexus cancel all in or something. But Puma's going to come down here and start setting up a bunker and get his expansion all established. One Stalker does poke in here to see what's going on, and he does see Marines postured in this position. If he saw the bunker, that's going to give everything away, and he did. At least he saw this like little weird metal, whatever that is, that builds itself. So he'll know that there is an expansion coming down behind this. He should be perfectly safe. 2 more gateways coming up here, so this is a pretty normal 1-gate expand, with the exception of skipping that Zealot, which again, I'm going to do a video on 1-gate expands here pretty soon, because I see a lot of people run it wrong, I guess I want to call it. I mean, there is really no true one right way to run something. You should run it however you feel comfortable, but one of the mistakes that people commonly make is not grabbing that Zealot, and that Zealot provides so much safety in the early game. And if you're a Protoss player and you want to learn about that, just keep an eye out, because it should be following up this video fairly shortly. So yeah, we're just going to keep watching what's going on here as far as Puma. He's going to just land his orbital command. He did drop a mule in his main here, rather than waiting to land it and drop it at his natural. And again, that just goes along with SCV saturation, making these minerals in your main last as long as possible. If you mule in your main as opposed to your expansion, then that can be really bad. And look at this, Puma is on 3 barracks. He's going to go for double engineering bay once again and get really aggressive with upgrades, which has kind of been the backstory to this matchup, is who can crank out upgrades quicker. Puma hates the neutral supply depot, so he's going to go ahead and shoot it down, which they put that there so that you can't wall in like Zergs or whatever and just have a Zerg player lose to something really cheap in the early game. So that dies. There's a Marauder out now. Stim is actually coming up before Shells. So Puma may try to hit a timing with the Stim and +1/+1, but he's only on 3 barracks, and typically if you want to hit a timing like that, you just are a lot more aggressive about putting out just tons of stuff and running in there and killing that Protoss. So yeah, we'll see exactly what happens here. That makes me so sad that they're removing the mothership for Heart of the Swarm. I love the mothership, and it's so nice to see it that's still on the Nexus for the next while. MC's gonna be aggressive here with this small force, I guess. Yeah, he can't possibly expect to do much damage with that, because that's just not very friendly to what Puma's doing right now, unless he could get like a massive concave of force fields and trap everything there so that they all take damage from Zealots. But I don't know what MC's doing. He's being fairly aggressive here, even after seeing the fast medevacs in the last game. That seems a little worrisome, but factory's now coming up. Starport should follow it right away, and there it goes. There should be a reactor put on this, built on the factory right away. And Armory is also coming up, so Puma can get +2/+2 immediately. So I don't think he's going to hit a 1-1 timing, but I do think it's very likely he's going to hit a 2-2 Stim medevac timing, which could be extremely powerful. MC again being aggressive on 2 bases. This is going to be a 6-gate plus a Robo with a couple of Immortals. So that's essentially what worked for him in the first game. It looks like he wants to do something similar in this game. Look at how huge Puma's production list is, and this is the sign of fantastic macro. If you can have all this stuff coming down at once, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it shows that you have very good variety in your spending, and you know exactly what you want to do with every little mineral or blob of gas, or whatever you want to call it. I guess gas can't really be in blobs, but I don't know what else you'd call that they're carrying. Barrels in this case of Terran, like boxes in the case of Protoss. Doesn't even make any sense, but okay. Yeah, MC pooling all of his forces here in the middle of the map. Those 6 gates are now operational, so he's warping in 6 units at a time. MC is well ahead in supply right now, so Puma may get caught just over-upgrading and over-teching once again. He's only on 3 barracks. He's going to be on 5 here in just a second as the 2 are ghosting. And look at this factory scouting out here. It's going to see this proxy pylon in addition to the one coming up closer to his base. So Puma has to know exactly what's going on, and 2 more bunkers start at the front of Puma's base, which is going to make this a lot harder to break. So up comes an SCV. He sees MC's entire force. Puma is pulling SCVs in advance here, and MC's just going to try to get up there, and his observer actually dies, so he has no spotting on the high ground unless he's on that ramp. All the SCVs here are going to die, but he's not really targeting SCVs. He's trying to target down that bunker, even though it's not doing anything. It's being repaired too fast. So now he force fields off the SCVs from repairing, and he's just going to pick off as many SCVs as possible, and that's a really nice pressure play. I actually would be totally fine if MC just went home right now and started Colossus Tech. But he looks like he still wants to try and break this, which I just don't know if it's going to happen. I'm a little worried right now for MC. Coming up this ramp once again, good force fields here to zone out all the units so that he can focus these bunkers down one at a time. He's trying to also pick off medevacs, which is extremely smart considering the medevac number is so low. More press-ups here. MC is losing a lot of sentries, so he's losing a lot of stuff in their attack. Oh, he could have... Okay. MC is finally going home now after a very worrisome fight there. So he's going to go ahead and head home. Puma's factory is in a really random position. He notices it just as I do. But I was just going to say that if Puma followed MC down this ramp here, 2 force fields could have actually just ended that game. So MC's just going to go back home, hang out at his natural. He does go ahead and start a Twilight Council so that he can either get Charge or Blink. It might actually be for Blink since he has so many Stalkers on the field right now. That's actually a ton of Stalkers. I don't know how much I like that, considering 2/2 Marauders are just going to completely eat them up. But Puma goes out here, he kills a proxy pylon, a Ghost Academy is now on the way, and also a robotics bay is on the way in addition to the Twilight Council. This is a lot of tech coming down at once. I'm actually kind of curious what the worker count is like. Puma is way behind, and is he actually... Okay, he's still making SCVs, but he is supply blocked now with 2 more supply depots coming up. So yes, even pros get supply blocked here and there. +3 attack. This is one of the fastest +3 attacks I've ever seen out of Terran. Literally one of the fastest +3 attacks you could ever get, period, because of how early he started that. Here comes Puma's force, and MC has a lot of stuff here. He could be able to hold this off. And if PUMA overcommits, oh, he just barely missed those force fields. I was just going to say, if PUMA overcommits here and gets his army chopped up, that could just end the game. But PUMA's hanging out down here at the bottom of the ramp. He has actually a ton of medevacs right now, so his army is going to be very resilient, especially with that +2 armor. And MC is on 0/0 upgrades. So, geez, if a straight-up engagement happens here, I'm actually going to change my answer. I think MC will actually lose. He does lose one Stalker, essentially, for free. He needs to be very careful right now. This is very worrisome. Force fields go up and only trap about 5 units, and all these zealots take damage. One medevac just picks them all up and sets them down. So this is really weird, because PUMA has such an enormous lead right now in terms of being able to just out-DPS the crap out of MC's army. But MC just essentially needs to buy time for these Colossus, because there's so many Marines in this force. And if he just gets a couple Colossus on the field, this will be a much more interesting battle, especially considering that now PUMA is going Ghost. So there will be Ghost rallying here, and the objective here is to try and EMP these sentries so he can bust up the ramp without having to deal with force fields. So this game is really coming to a head right now. One observer does see everything, so once again, just sitting an observer somewhere can give you so much information. It's really worth it to produce at least one if you have a robotics up and not just be greedy and make immortals. Here come these two ghosts running across the field, and they know exactly what their job is. Another small engagement here as PUMA is trying to float his factory in front to try and eat some damage. MC's Stalker's getting a little bit out of position, but he does have the luxury of that blink to be able to go ahead and send them back. I was just checking. I don't think those Stalkers had blink before, so he must have just started that and finished it really fast, because there's already charge almost done too. Here come the ghosts pressing up here. If they get good EMPs on those sentries, then that'll be really bad. Here comes a small engagement. Both of them are just in such close proximity. EMP goes off, hitting all the zealots. There's still a couple of sentries with energy, but he just decides to use it on Guardian Shield. PUMA just goes ahead and presses up here. A couple of random force fields. Colossus doing tons of damage from the back. Make that 2 Colossi in the back. Look at PUMA's army completely melt to these Colossi, and all these Stalkers here can just blink and chase down these medevacs. So here they go, chasing after them. 2 Colossus in the back, and my god, they have to have a lot of kills. 15 kills in just one battle. That's insane. Here comes the blink up, and MC is just going to chase PUMA all the way down to his base. And PUMA is way behind in supply right now. Bad rally on his barracks once again, just sending Marauders to their death. And there's no ghosts out, there's no nothing for PUMA to try and hold this off. MC should be able to just walk in there and kill PUMA right now, which has got to be so vindicating, because he's one step closer to a Coda spot with this. If he decides to go ahead and win here, which I guess he's going to, because PUMA just doesn't have anything. So MC just melting everything. He is one step closer to his Coda spot with this victory, and more importantly is avenging all of his losses to PUMA recently in tournaments, and there's the good game. So that's it, and very interesting set of games there. MC, this guy is so good, and he's just had a lot of really bad breaks, but the fact that he gets into finals of so many tournaments, especially foreign tournaments, really says a lot for the caliber of player that he is. I caught the very tail end of this game when it was being played live over on the Blue stream. They didn't actually have it streamed or casted. They just zoomed in on MC's player cam. So I saw like the last 2 minutes of this, and it was actually really exciting. I thought it'd be really fun to show all 3 games. And that's what happened here. So I'm going to be broadcasting more MLG stuff, and I always try to broadcast stuff that I don't think was on stream, or at least that I hadn't seen, just so that I don't, sound overly obvious about what's going on. But yeah, I thought that was a cool game. PUMA was at +3/+3, but it goes to show that with proper army control and proper engagement angles, you can really get a lot done with Protoss armies even when they're at 0/0. So these 2 Colossus had 18 kills between the 2. And I remember after this game watching, so what they do when the Blue stream is inactive during MLG, they'll sit there and they'll just have a camera set on another match that's going on a different like booth or whatever. And after MC won this, he stood up and was like high-fiving fans behind him, so he was so happy to win this. I was pretty happy for him too, I got to admit. I'm getting pretty tired of Protoss dying to Terran tournaments, so cool series there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back with more MLG stuff, so look out for that. It should be fun. See you later.